Streaming on Twitch. Testing the audio. We have audio. Excellent. Dementia Radio now. And recording in 3, 2, 1.
Recorded live on DementiaRadio.org, it's the Funny Music Podcast. Brought to you by FuMP.com, where you can download new free comedy songs twice a week. Now, here's your hosts, Devo Spice and the great Luke Ski.
Hello, I forgot to change my inputs back from when I interviewed the COG. So now you should hear the end of the music. Did you hear the end of the music?
Yes.
Okay. So it should have recorded, so we should be fine. Welcome to, what the hell number is this? Welcome to episode 698 of the Funny Music Podcast for Thursday, November 2nd, 2023. The title of this week's episode is Tidy Chicken. For no reason whatsoever. We have a pre-recorded interview with the COG, the Consortium of Genius, coming up later in the show. And I did invite Dino-Mike on the show. I never heard back from him. I sent him the link. Maybe he'll show up. Probably not. And you like my new lighting?
Wait, hold on a second. Oh, I see. Yeah.
What I did,
cool.
I was doing an audition for a self-tape audition for a movie, and I was using these normal ring lights that I normally do, and I just thought it was a little bright, and I wanted something soft, and I don't have a I forget what they're called, the shade to put over it, so I taped a piece of paper on top of the light. It totally works, and I like how it looks, so I'm gonna keep them. I should see if they have like real shades for these ring lights or not, just because it looks janky, but who cares? Nobody sees it.
Yeah.
All right, let's do the catch-up thing.
Okay.
Let's get caught up with what Devo and Luke have been up to since last week. Or else Devo, if Luke failed and didn't show up.
Hey, what?
No, he's right.
So, Luke, what you been up to?
Well, because I didn't realize that it was it's been a while since one of the streaming services did this, but the movie Five Nights at Freddy's was actually put on Peacock like the same day it was in theaters. NBC's streaming thing. Because I was gonna go see it in theaters, and then I noticed it was there, and I'm like, oh well, screw it, I'll just watch it at home, just because I didn't, I'm like, why not? It's convenient. So I've never played any of the video games. I mean, I know the general gist of them, I've all of the animatronic stuff, the puppetry in it is were things built by the Jim Henson Creature Shop. So.
Yeah, I was going to mention that to you if you didn't already know. It's I didn't know if you had seen the movie or not.
Yeah, so I just I thought it was cool. I thought it was funny. I can't really speak to how accurate it is to the plot of the video games, but it seemed pretty nifty to me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. From what I've heard, it follows the lore fairly closely, but it brings in stuff from the second game early or something like that. I'm not entirely sure, but apparently the guy who developed the video game or wrote the video game wrote the screenplay, so it's
okay.
So
it's kind of like a One Piece situation where it's like,
yeah,
trying to make the best version, in a new medium. One thing I was doing, just because, is like I was mentally keeping track as the movie went along. It's like, okay, this is the first night. Okay, this is the second night, because I really wanted to make sure, like, is it actually Five Nights at Freddy's? Or were they just kind of going, bleh, whatever. But yeah, it was actually Five Nights.
It was. Okay, see, I didn't even pay attention to that. It didn't even occur to me to check for that.
So that's cool. I hope they make more of them. So much of my life has just been, doing my dumb job. But I did manage to get together with a new friend of mine named Kalani. She lives out in Irvine, which, for those who don't know, California, is like south of Disneyland by about 15 or 20 minutes. And so basically, like she and I went to see Bonnie Gordon do the Dave Cox Magic Show in Santa Monica, which was just before we went to Con on the Cob. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that happened like the weekend before Con on the Cob, and then I had Con on the Cob to go to, and then she ended up going out of town for like a whole month to deal with stuff having to do with her job and also to see her family in the Midwest. So we were trying to figure out when the hell could we possibly get together, and then we figured out that that basically the day before Halloween, we could meet up at Disney because she has an annual pass and all that stuff. So we went to Disney, and then we also hung out on Halloween with her family. Not her family. Her best friend Ella has a 7-year-old son named Max, which I think is funny because my brother has a 7-year-old son named Max.
I was going to say, didn't you do that once already?
Yeah. So and she's part of a Star Wars cosplay group down in the Irvine area that has like 50 or 60 people in it. She showed me a group picture, and like there was, not just stormtroopers, but all kinds of characters and stuff. So she has a whole bunch of like Jedi costumes. I have my Luke Skywalker from The Last Jedi costume, which is, one of the cheap store-bought ones, but I have my really good lightsaber from Disneyland, and I have and she has she had an extra Jedi rope, so we just kind of put that all together. So I just went there, and the kiddo just I don't know how he at age 7 saw this movie, but he wanted to dress as Ghostface from Scream. So and then his mom was just kind of dressed in like kind of a semi-witch Halloween looking, cute dress or whatever, and then her boyfriend Ron was dressed as Jason, and he's like really tall. So it's like we have, really tall Jason, really short Ghostfaced, cute witchy lady, and 2 random Jedi. So walking around their neighborhood trick-or-treating. So that was fun. One of the houses we went to had like an animatronic, like, not like super high tech, but whatever. Like, you can buy those animatronic things for in front of your house for Halloween. And they had one of Beetlejuice with actual quotes from the movie with Michael Keaton's voice. And I'm like,
nice.
I want one of those.
Does he say nice fucking model?
I don't recall him saying that, but he was saying a bunch of, the lines from the movie. So that was cool. So basically I was trying to think the last time I went proper trick-or-treating, and I assume it had to have been at some point, with Alex Ann back before I moved out here. So like probably 2014 or something like that. It was probably like at the mall or whatever, but still just, that's the last time I had been any kind of proper trick-or-treating, yeah. So that was fun. Last night I tallied up the results of the Luke Ski Top 50, and I'll go over that in the news part of the show.
Cool.
So, yeah. And also, here's Kitty, just being a lazy kitty, right in front of the camera. He just came and plopped himself right here, because why not?
Kitty.
So what have you been up to?
Well, Sunday was Darren's 18th birthday. So, holy
That's
crap.
not possible, no.
Yeah, right?
I refuse to believe that's a thing.
Yeah. So he had a swim meet this weekend. So we went to that. He did pretty good. And then we took him out to dinner Sunday night. And then, funny thing, I had to skip my acting class Sunday night because I was taking Darren out to dinner. And that for that class, the point of the class is to do things that are outside of your comfort zone, things you're not good at. And, maybe even like roles you wouldn't be good, fit for, like you wouldn't even bother auditioning for, but just to, expand what you can do. So he was asking us like what we're not comfortable doing or what we think we're not good at. And I told him I never felt I was a believable tough guy. because we've done a couple of scenes where I played a tough guy, over the year I've been taking classes, and I just never felt like I was believable. So he gave me a scene as a tough guy, and then I had to miss class. So it's fine. So
Tough guys don't act.
right. So Saturday, or was it Saturday, or that class was Sunday? So I think it was Saturday. I applied on Backstage.com for a role in a movie. And on Monday morning, I got an email from them saying, "Hey, we'd like you to audition for this part. Here's the sides for the character, and it's a tough guy." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So I asked because I had a different acting class with the same teacher Monday night, and I said, "Hey, is it all right if we do my Sunday night scene Monday night at the end of class, because I just got this audition as a tough guy, and I'm going to need the practice." So he was like, "Yeah, sure. In fact, bring the scene you're auditioning with, and I'll coach you on that too." So we did that, and it was cool. And then I did the recording with Ian earlier today. I actually did it yesterday too, but there was no audio on the recording yesterday, so we had to redo it today. So because it turns out that these microphones don't work if you don't put batteries in them. So
that little detail.
Yeah. So that was fun. Tuesday night, Halloween. Past couple of years, I've just kind of taken to like setting up outside and just sitting there, letting the kids come, because anyone who has a dog knows what happened when the doorbell rings. And we get a ton of trick-or-treaters, and my poor dogs would just have a heart attack with the door ringing every 30 seconds. So and that way I don't have to try to wrangle them to prevent them from getting out the door and stuff. So I just sit outside. So last month, my wife made me buy this life-size skeleton that she saw at Home Depot. And
yeah,
I don't know why, but we have it. It's been sitting on our couch ever since. It's just taking up a space in the living room. So I brought it outside, put it on the chair, put the bowl of candy in his lap, made it look like he was holding the bowl of candy, and I just sat out there with him, playing the music from the Spotify Halloween playlist I put together, and spent the evening getting caught up on emails while I was giving out candy.
That's awesome.
And then today I filed a police report for the first time in my life, so that was fun.
Really?
Yeah. Have I talked about the Wells Fargo fraud on this show yet?
I don't know. Back
in late August, I got an alert on one of these credit reporting things that somebody in Illinois opened a checking account and a credit card in my name, and I was like, "Oh, I don't live in Illinois. What's that about?" So I looked into it, and sure enough, somebody just used my social security number and date of birth to open a credit card and a checking account. So with Wells Fargo, and I've been dealing with Wells Fargo ever since, and they are about as competent as a wet doormat. So things have been not going well. Now, I haven't lost any money or anything with this. They're just using my name for some reason. It hasn't affected me otherwise yet. But I need the account shut down because it's not mine. So the last thing was I filed we opened a fraud case. The fraud case came back that they found no fraud on the account. And I'm like, no, the account itself is the fraud. You see, that's...
Yeah.
So they said, "Oh, you want our identity theft department. That's different." And I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake." So they transferred me to the identity theft department. And then they called me last week and said, "Oh, we've closed the identity theft case because you came into the branch and proved your identity with a utility bill." And I was like, "I did no such thing." I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, all I could think was Pro Highest talking to No Highest going, "You are not me." So
I'm going to buy a house. No, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I asked online, I'm like, "What do I do now?" Like, Wells Fargo is refusing to close this account. What do I do? And everyone came back saying, "Well, one, file a police report, then go back to Wells Fargo. And then if they still don't do it, there's some federal Banking Regulation Commission I can file a complaint with, and they will kick Wells Fargo's ass and make them do it. So so step 1, file a police report. Now I just got to wait till the police report, gets officially filed and I get a copy. So, yay, fun. This isn't one thing, it's another. Like I don't have enough to do in my life. All right. That's enough of that.
Oh, by the way, I watched the season 4 finale episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, and
God, I forgot there were episodes on. I gotta get caught up.
Yeah, but to paraphrase something said earlier in the season, Lower Decks is Star Trek as a motherfucker. It is so fucking good. It just reminds me of, like, there are so many Star Wars fans who, like, never watched the Clone Wars and never watched Rebels. Like, oh, it's a cartoon, so why should I watch a cartoon?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so you just want to miss out on some of the best Star Wars content that's come out ever because it's a cartoon. It's like, screw you. So, like, if anyone hasn't been watching Lower Decks, or Prodigy for that matter, if they haven't been watching Lower Decks, and because they like, oh, well, it's not real Star Trek, it's like, so
all I have to say to them is, Moopsie.
Yeah. The show's creator, Mike McMahon, has been, like, retweeting people's costumes, and there have been people who dressed up as Moopsie. It was for Halloween.
Nice.
I'm like, yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
They also just announced they're doing Funko Pops of the 4 main characters and Badgie. So
Badgie.
hopefully if those sell well, there'll be more, because they want, like Mike McMahon himself said, he wants one of T'Lyn, the Vulcan character,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure everybody would want a Moopsie and a bunch of, like, he also said he would love the one of when Boimler is doing, like, those like, it's an episode where all of the cadets are put in their own individual holodeck so they can take all these tests to prove
yeah.
it's competent.
Yeah.
So Boimler goes in the one that's like a Borg cube, situation, and he keeps retaking it so he can get the 100% on it.
Yeah.
So, like, by the end, it's like, by the time he gets to the 100%, he's like, turned into, like, some kind of, Rambo-looking equivalent, like, with the way he's all geared up, but he also has strapped to him a ton of Borg babies, like he's rescuing the Borg babies. So he's like, I want a Funko Pop of Borg baby rescuing Boimler.
Oh, that's great. So
and a ton of other deep guys.
Is Badgie supposed to be the Towley of Star Trek?
He's more like the Miss Minutes of Star Trek.
Miss Minutes, okay, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, because, like, I don't know if you know about this, but Towley was basically created by the guys at South Park because, whoever the corporate people are way back then kept, like, insisting that they create characters that we can do merch for so we can make a lot of money off of merch. So they intentionally created the worst character they could possibly think of that would just be so dumb that everyone would, either hate it or they would immediately recognize, oh, I get it. This character is supposed to be the worst character that nobody would actually give a crap about.
But they could have sold towels with the face on it,
Yeah, I know they at least made T-shirts. There was at least some Towley merchandise, but that was probably just out of, the company being like, well, we asked them to create a character, and now they did, and now we've come this far down the road, we can't turn back now. So there was some Towley merchandise somewhere. And they very occasionally would bring Towley back, especially after they switched the whole thing with the Marsh family being like, oh, now we run a weed farm in Colorado instead of just being a regular family. Every so often, Towley comes back to help Randy with some weed-related adventure. So anyway, so
just one more quick movie story, just because I think it's funny and I have no place else to tell it. I was just browsing Reddit the other day, and people were talking about movies that are no longer on Netflix, and this one guy was complaining. He's like, yeah, I spent so many nights up late watching Netflix, and I can't remember, like, if these movies are real or if there was a dream. And he's like, I swear to God, there was one movie about fairies that stole babies, but they turned out to be a fungus. And he's like, I swear to God, that's a real movie. And I was like, so I copied that and I pasted it into Google and wrote movie after it. And the first result was a 2016 movie called The Hollow, which is a Irish horror film. And I was like, is this it? And then I watched the trailer and I was like, holy shit, that looks awesome. So I started watching it last night. I'm about 15 minutes in and I was too tired. I was falling asleep. So I'm going to hopefully watch the rest of it tonight. It's free on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it. So
yeah, it's like on Peacock, I finally watched Asteroid City, the most recent Wes Anderson film, and that was cool and fun and very Wes Anderson. And I noticed they finally have Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken on there, which I still haven't seen yet.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet either. I wanted to see that.
Because like it doesn't look necessarily bad, but it doesn't look necessarily anything like, you know, it just has this kind of feel of like, you know, like an AI script idea, just kind of like, you know, make a CG animated DreamWorks movie. What is it? Oh, it's a teenage girl Kraken movie. It's, you know, it's like we just had Luca from Pixar a few years ago. It's like how, I don't know. So again, I don't want to say it's bad because I haven't seen it, but also its advertising campaign didn't motivate me enough to want to go see it in the theater, which for me is kind of a big indicator of, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I've been talking about Nimona nonstop since that came out because it's amazing. If that would have been in the theater, I would have ran to see it. But anyway,
let's get some music going here.
Yes.
All right. First song is by me, featuring Dino-Mike. It's the latest in my interminable series of ridiculous rap songs, where I asked my audience for suggestions, and this was Dino-Mike who said, a Big Mac with macaroni and cheese on it, the McMacMac&Cheese Attack. So here's that.
A Big Mac with my mouth, yo, why do I need to answer that? Is there another way maybe that I'm not privy to? Never mind, ain't no way I wanna know what you do.
No, not that, I mean like toppings and stuff, like lettuce and tomato.
Yo, I can't get enough.
And bacon?
Hell yeah, extra bacon please.
Now the most important question, what kind of cheese?
American?
No.
What, cheddar?
No, the only type of cheese you really need is macaroni.
But McDonald's doesn't sell macaroni and cheese.
That's why I always have salami and I'm ready with these. It's a Big McMac&Cheese Attack. It's a Big McMac&Cheese Attack.
It's a Big McMac&Cheese Attack. Yeah, I do deserve a break today, actually.
You need a winner, just a scoop of Kraft dinner.
Slapped right on the patty?
Yup, open up, fatty. You digging on my nude, straight up packed in the bun? It's dripping down your chin like your long-lost son.
What?
I put the attack back in the Mac stack, assaulting your mouth and intestinal tract, making all the sloppy noises from beneath the sheets. See your face buried in a McMac&Cheese. It's a Big McMac&Cheese Attack.
It's a Big McMac&Cheese Attack. It's a Big McMac&Cheese Attack. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-da, bitches. Yo, that was awesome, and now I want some more, son. What else you got? Line me up like a foursome.
What? No, I don't mean to be rude, but that's all that I've tried. I mean food.
That's alright, you can help me brainstorm a little. How about a Big Mac with a pizza in the middle?
You mean like those tiny little personal ones?
Yeah, or maybe we can use a fruitcake instead of buns, or a platter of nachos.
But like on the side?
No, I want nachos baked right inside, and swap out the special sauce for some beans and franks.
I think I'll just stick with the mac and cheese, thanks. It's a Big McMac&Cheese Attack.
It's a Big McMac&Cheese Attack. It's a Big McMac&Cheese Attack. All beef patties, beans and franks, mac and cheese, pizza, nachos on a fruitcake for a bun. Yum.
Yum. I probably should have gone with something other than fruitcake because it's the only thing in that list I don't like. So otherwise I might try it.
So it makes me think, because quite often we're trying to figure out songs from the FuMP that could be made into music videos, and I could just like picture like you filming yourself like in your car, like you're talking to a drive-through speaker, and then Mike could film himself, inside the restaurant with the thing up to his face, and you guys having this discussion about.
That's an interesting way to do it. Yeah, because I was trying to think of like making how to make a video for this, and all I could think of was like Mike, other than flying to California to film it with Mike, I was like doing it as if he was talking to me on the phone, just like have a phone call back and forth. But I think the drive-through might work. I could do that. I'll have to think about that.
And you could just, each of you in your separate places could get the components you need. Like go to McDonald's, get a Big Mac, go make some mac and cheese, and then put it on a Big Mac, and so that way he could film himself going here it is, and then hand it over to you, and then you film yourself pulling one in and be like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean we might have to do this. Yeah, so Mike suggested this, and then he immediately replied to his own comment and said, "Hey, I don't think we've actually worked together on any song. Let me cameo or collab or something." And I was like, "Wow, yeah, you're right. We've never actually worked together on a song, other than We Are the FuMP and stuff like that."
Yeah.
But so I was like, "Yeah, let's do this." So I wrote 2 verses. And then I did the music, and I recorded a demo, and I sent it to him. And we had brainstormed a couple of ideas back and forth a little bit. And he's like, "Oh wow, this is great, but I really wanted to write something." So then he wrote a verse for the middle. So he wrote the break in the middle, and I was like, "Okay, sure." So we'll shoehorn that in, because originally the ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-da bitches was just in the one break between the two, and then I had to come up with something else because I wanted to save that because I was really proud of that. So, yeah, it's a stupid song.
Yeah, when I saw the title of it, my first thought was well, that's going to be such an interesting mouthful of words to try to figure out. Okay, so how do we send, or how do you say that? How are you going to rhythmically say that in the song and have it, just be so I was just wondering how it was going to unfold, and you've just heard how it unfolded.
It did.
So
I was when I decided to go with this idea, the first thing I came up with was the chorus and how it's a big McMacMac&Cheese attack. That was the first thing I had to figure out. Hi, kitty.
Yep, there he goes.
That was the first thing I figured out, and then once I came up with the ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-da bitches, I was like, okay, I actually had to look up, there's a Wikipedia article that has all of McDonald's slogans throughout the years, and I completely forgot about "You Deserve a Break Today," but I was like, oh yeah, I remember that one, so I put through that one in, and Mike was the one who suggested doing the 2 all beef patties jingle at the end of the song, so once I wrote my verse and, had all the other suggestions, I rewrote the 2 all beef patties jingle with all the replacement, ingredients, and there we go.
Yeah, I remember it was it's a good time and a great taste, or no, it's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
I remember
that was one
yeah.
in the 80s. So you said fruitcake is one of the ones you don't like.
It's the only thing I don't like in that list, but I couldn't. I mean, I could have made it a bagel, I guess, instead of fruitcake, because I like bagels. But fruitcakes usually have nuts in them, so I can't eat them.
What would you say your favorite food items that brought up in the song are?
Oh, pizza.
Me too. It's I think generally speaking, I'm a very basic person when it comes to food. It's I just feel like taking me to a fancy restaurant, generally speaking, it's basically going to be wasted on me because I'm
same.
Yeah. It's.
I always describe myself as a Burger King and Pizza Hut kind of guy. I'm just
pretty much. I have on occasion had some really good steak, and I consider finding good steak just a matter of luck. Mm-hmm. Or a matter of are you at Disney World at one of their good restaurants? Then it's going to be good steak. Outside of the rest of the planet, you never know if you're going to get something that's really actually good or just something that's you have to chew for 25 minutes just to get it soft enough to swallow it, or whatever. it's like I slowly step my toes forward into various areas. Like, okay, there's some kind of sushi I'll eat now, and I'll try to do something because I don't want to be a complete wet blanket. But I just have a super basic bitch palate.
Hey, I ate at McDonald's for lunch today.
Yeah, it's McDonald's to me is like is what I call that in my mind my fallback position. Like, if there's nothing else, I can always go to McDonald's. I mean, and I have never disliked McDonald's, but I've also just kind of felt recently in life that I'm out here in California, I might as well at least explore other options. From a fast food point of view. Lately, my main thing has been going to Popeye's Chicken because they have these. They call them ghost pepper wings. Like, ooh, they're so spicy, and to me, they're not any more spicy than your average spicy wings you get anywhere else. But there's been that. Of course, there's always Chipotle. Whenever I'm near enough, there's like only 3 or 4 Arby's in the valley, and they aren't anywhere near me. So if I'm near one of them, I'll usually get that. But
I can't pass an Arby's without going, I'm so hungry, I could eat it at Arby's.
I forgot who was telling me about this. No, I wasn't. It wasn't somebody telling me about this. It was me listening to a podcast of somebody talking about how somebody did a podcast where, they would make fun of Arby's all the time, just like everybody makes fun of Arby's all the time. But then they kind of realized, well, we've never actually eaten Arby's. Let's do a podcast where we get all the various things from the Arby's menu and try them. And they started trying them. They started realizing, wow, this stuff is really good. It's like, why are we making fun of it? I don't know. Why do people make fun of Cleveland? Why do people make fun of Nickelback compared to all the other rock bands who made music that was exactly the same as that all those years ago?
Yeah. I've eaten at Arby's once or twice when I lived in Rochester. There's none around here, but
I guess I don't like my ingredients all over the place. If I'm gonna order, some food, I like a tidy chicken when I'm gonna get chicken, not chicken with ingredients everywhere.
So the album art I came up with is a Big Mac with macaroni and cheese on it, which I showed when we played the song. Apparently, about a year ago, Kraft was trying to make this a thing. Like, they ran ads with a picture of a Big Mac that had macaroni and cheese on it, and they were trying to get McDonald's to partner with them to make a macaroni and cheese Big Mac. And I guess it never happened, but that's what that picture is. That's a Kraft-generated picture.
Wow.
Like, it's probably a real Big Mac with real macaroni and cheese. It was like professionally shot and everything.
I have seen some fast food places, including one of them I think is Arby's. It might not be like a regular menu item, but they've done a thing where basically they'll take, little balls of mac and cheese and put like a little bit of breading on the outside and then kind of fry them so they're like little mac and cheese bites, which isn't too far off from like, mozzarella sticks or whatever.
Yeah.
But it kind of, for like what the usual consistency of macaroni and cheese is, it kind of makes more sense to have the macaroni and cheese and then put bits of like burger and pieces of bread into that and mix that in, rather than try to put macaroni and cheese on a burger, because it's like chili burgers. It's like if you get
it's going to be messy,
chili, right, it's going to be a mess. So, but yeah, the song is awesome, and it's always great to see what you come up with during these ridiculous raps challenges.
I enjoy them. I enjoy doing them. Because it's always fun to get like 300 suggestions, and I came up with an idea which I'm probably not going to do, but it's an idea, is to take either this last group of suggestions that I got or solicit new suggestions in like late January and do FuMP and just pick, do like 14 of them and then put out a ridiculous rap album in March or something. I don't know, with all of them on.
If you were to do that, I'd say, because your ridiculous raps tend to be short, that you should not only have the 14 you make for FuMP, but also have all of the previous ridiculous raps on the album as well, just so it's like Ridiculous Raps Volume 1, like the collection of all of those specific songs of yours.
I don't know what number I'm up to. I'd have to figure it out. I don't know what I'm up to. So yeah, that's something I might do. Probably not. Don't get your hopes up.
But because you don't really do these on a consistent calendar thing. You just do them whenever you think it's time to do another one.
Yeah. A lot of times it's like when I need to post a FuMP song and I don't have any ideas or have anything in the works, because I tend to crank these out pretty quickly too. You know, Mike was surprised at how quickly I cranked out the music and stuff. I'm like, yeah, well, I keep it simple. You know, I don't, you know, I'm not composing a symphony here. It's a beat. That's, you know. Anyway. So you can find me at DevoSpice.com, now with a working media player.
Hooray!
Because I fixed it yesterday. Actually, there was nothing wrong with the player. The problem was the database. For some reason, all the links in the database got wiped out. No idea why or how. So, had to fix that. All right, let's do some news. Where's the thingy?
This is the FuMP.
Going for a swim today, chomp, chomping now your prey. Just keep swimming, open water, try to stay afloat. Last shark shirking plagiarism, dude, there's even exorcisms. Gotta bleed or gonna need to get a bigger boat.
Boycotting products willy-nilly makes you look extremely silly, and banning teaching history.
That's the Funny Music Project at thefump.com. THEFUMP.com.
That would not be the last time the boy'd be throwing us a curve. That's a fine how do you do? Dylan's just screwing with you.
Time for funny music news. Something, something, something.
Devo in the chat, the other Devo, just posted a picture of what appears to be a rather large chocolate chip cookie that has macaroni and cheese baked into the middle of it.
Why would someone do that?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. So,
to quote one of my favorite philosophers, no!
All right, in the news, the only news I have is that Weird the Al Yankovic Story is going to be on iTunes, available for digital purchase on the 7th, and Blu-ray and DVDs are coming out on December 12th. And that's all I got.
Well,
so, you have results of your top 50 poll?
Yes, I'm going to first off I'll I'm going to read off just the top 20, and I'm going that far back just because given the things that are there, that's where I think I should go. So yeah, and to remind everyone, the primary purpose of this was to add in all of the tracks from Needlessly Meta into the list. Just to see where they rank. And I did decide to do a couple of things going... a few things I decided going into this to make it different this time. Was one, a lot of times in the past I left certain songs off because they were collaborations and I was trying to keep it to just songs I had like 100% written myself. And I decided this time around I was going to change that and add the collaborations into the mix. So basically the rule was... I put it on the list if it was a song that I had to have at least partially written the song and my voice has to appear in the song. So most of these songs I completely wrote and it's completely my voice, or I'm the primary voice throughout the whole thing. But some of these songs are songs that I only co-wrote or wrote part of, and yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. I also decided to include the covers in there. And also on the list, every time it was a collab or every time it was a cover, I made sure specifically to say, collab with, and then put the people I collaborated with, and and then for covers I would put Diuper's cover or whatever, just to make sure everyone make sure everyone looking at this list understands. I'm not trying to take credit for the existence of this song is from a writing point of view. It's that. And then the other thing I decided was because so much time has passed and the main list of tracks a list of which I actually removed some songs from the previous time we did it, is still like 178 tracks. So I'm still keeping it. I'm still calling it the Lukesky Top 50. But what I did is when I got to 50, I did like a row that was just kind of like, a bunch of like tildes, like tilde, 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 just to kind of denote like there's 50, and then I put 51 through 100 underneath it, just because I'm like, this information helps me when I'm trying to figure out things like what songs should I perform. If I'm returning to a convention I haven't been to in a while, I want to know like, okay, what did I perform the last time I was there, and what's the most popular things I've done that aren't those songs, so I can make the best set lists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I also added to the very bottom of the list, that list ends, and then there's a new list that says new Lukesky songs made after this poll was conducted. And right now, the only song on that list is "The Ghost and Molly McGee," and I have the date it came out, which is October 10th, 2023, and then the link to the video, so that I can also have that up there for anybody, as because I'm assuming it's going to be at least another 3 years, if not longer, before I redo this poll again, and I want to be able to have this, have that on the same page too, because the overall point of doing this is it's supposed to be a sampling for anybody who discovers me, comes to my site, and might want to get the shorthand version of, well, what's my most popular stuff that people think is the funniest or whatever. It's like, boom, now you have this list. So anyway, another problem, I'm saying all the other stuff before I get to the actual saying of what things are, but another problem was, for some reason, something got changed in it when I was updating this list, and I'm using WordPress to make the site, and I was trying to adjust the margins on things, and somehow in doing that, it turned the whole thing into one giant block of HTML, so I can't go in and change things. I was trying, I don't know, and also changed the font and made the size of the font smaller. I mean, it still works fine. It still looks okay enough, but I'm just annoyed now that whenever it is years down the line when I have to redo this, I'm probably going to have to literally put in everything on a new thing. But that's because I'm not good at web coding and shit. So
neither is WordPress, so don't feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I should try completely rebuilding the website on Squarespace or some stuff by then, because that's what I do with all my other main websites for my art portfolio and etc. So anyway, what I was saying, the top 20. At number 20, It's a Fanboy Christmas 2, The Wrath of Claus. Number 19, Vader Boy. Sorry, Stephanie, I will call you back later. Let's see. Yeah, number 20, It's a Fanboy Christmas 2. Number 19, Vader Boy. Number 18, My Parents Bought Me in Television, my collaboration with Insane Ian, which I can't remember where it was on the last on the chart, but I think that one jumped up quite a bit. Number 17, 88 Lines About 44 Simpsons. Number 16, Candy Bars from Needlessly Meta. Make me happy to see that make it that high on the list. Number 15 is You Might Be a Trekkie. Number 14, I'm Vamber Warrior from Needlessly Meta. So which I consider less of a statement on the quality of the song and more of a statement on the number of people who are my fans who did make the effort to watch Mighty Magiswords and are a fan of the show and liked what I did in making, a song about the early pre-television version of the show. So thank you for that. Number 13, surprised to see this one drop this far down the list. Number 13 is You Don't Know Jack. Because that one regularly was in the top 5. Number 12, What's Up Spock. Number 11, Snoopy the Dog. That one dropped a little bit. Number 10, Fanboy. Number 9, House Party at Arkham Asylum. Number 8, Fake Adult. Number 7, and this is where the collaboration thing comes in, is the Devo Spice song Spider-Verses.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, Spider-Verses, which it's a collab with, and obviously a song by Devo Spice, but also has Creative Mindframe, Insane Ian, Bonnie Gordon, TV's Kyle, and Lex the Lexicon Artist. And all those people helped write the song, except for Bonnie Gordon, who just does the voice of, or the raps the part of Spider-Gwen in it. But yeah, so basically, I want to make sure Devo Spice understands that I'm not trying to take credit for all of Spider-Verses. I just wanted to put that in the mix, and because it truly is, one of my favorite songs of the past several years. Like, when I make my playlists of like songs that come out every year, I generally don't include my own songs, but I included Spider-Verses because it's just so dang good. I just love it so much. So
Thank you.
Anyway, going back to the list, number 6 is Marvel Poppins. Number 5, Insane and the Brain. That one climbed up a bit. Number 4, the top 4 are kind of the 4 you would expect. Number 4, It's a Fanboy Christmas. Number 3, Grease Wars. Number 2, When You Wish Upon a Death Star. And number 1, Stealing Like a Hobbit is the champion once again. Those top 3 have basically been fighting for the top 3 position, for the past 11 years.
Yeah.
Amongst each other. So yeah, it's like, I like the consistency of knowing that those 3 are considered, the fan favorites of all time, and that, it's like I said, it's fascinating to see like all those other ones getting moved around. And also, for me now, it's fascinating to see, I mean, I always had access to the data, but putting up, numbers 51 through 100, it's cool. And it's like, I don't vote at least this time around, I did not submit my own vote to it, to the poll, but I kind of view my vote as being when there's like a bunch of things that all have like, the same number of votes, like here's 4 tracks with 10 votes. It's like, I decide what order those 4 go in. Like that's my influence on it, just to keep it simple. So, you know what? I forgot to pull up the things so I could thank people who voted. We had a total of 56 people who voted. So thank you all to all of you. Like, looking at the charts of the times people voted, because I was, promoting it, here and there. It's like the main spikes in it were the very first time I announced it, like one in the middle somewhere during one of the times I promoted it, and then the last day. Like the first day and the last day was when I got the most number of votes in the same day in on the thing.
Yeah, that happens with everything. Like Kickstarter, you get the most money at on the first day and the last day, and then in the middle it just kind of fades.
So, all right, analyze results. And also, I went in and I unsubscribed from SurveyMonkey so that I don't pay. I'm not going to continue paying $99 a month for the thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
I'm willing to pay it if I have to. I'm willing to pay it again in another few years when I redo the poll. But yeah. So you go all the way back to a certain point. Yeah, okay, I know I read those off, yeah. Alan Makis, Momsky, Christopher Whittle, a guy named Tom who just said he knows me from Dr. Demento's Basement Tapes. Oh, that was another thing about this poll. I didn't advertise it in the Dr. Demento Facebook group. And the reason for that is, now that we're in this state of it's 100,000 people, it's, I don't want a bunch of people who don't know who I am going to vote on the poll just because they saw it was a thing and they want to participate and they have no clue. And I just kind of felt like their data was going to mess things up. It's like, at this point in time, anyone from that group who was going to follow me on my other social media has already followed me. So, and also just kind of the notion of, as the admins were trying to keep, clutter off of it, it's like, I'll go and post when I have the time, I'll go post a thing in there saying, hey, here's the results of the top 50 poll I just did, so everyone go check it out, etc. But, I just kind of felt like I didn't, I should just avoid that to keep the numbers more to what, the real Luke Ski fans want, man. So anyway, it's like some people left these explanations that are, cool and all, but then they don't give any indication as to what their name is. So, I mean, again, I appreciate your input. Let's see, Matthew L. Lenzen, also known as Ethanol. Let's see, Kyle Hudson, Hamner Hack is in there. Dave's not here. TJ Sharky 39. Jenny! It's Janice, but she put in the thing, it's Jenny! Somebody wrote, "We were once in a limo together." It's like, okay.
That narrows it down, actually.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Dave Arneson is dead. It's probably, it's like, who have I been in a limo with? There's some other names that came to mind, but I'll just move on from this point. Let's see. It's RJ. Let's see. Cool B, Chris Levitt, Sky Acker, Keterman. Keterman was asking online, how come my track Keanu for Pepsi isn't on here? and I told him in Facebook that's because Keanu for Pepsi was always one of the like Lukeski Fan Club bonus CD tracks and never on one of my main albums, but he thinks it should be on there. Like, I don't know. I kind of think between the song Keanu Man and the sketch Keanu brought a Nikto, I've kind of covered that. I don't necessarily need to have Keanu for Pepsi on there, but whatever. Brian Leonard, I'm assuming this is C Monkette because it says C Monkey and I know you because the FuMP happened. So I'm assuming that's C Monkette.
Probably.
Lisa Marie Perez, Onib. Thank you very much, Onib. Jen High. It was JENN capital HI. So I don't know if it's Jen High or if it's somebody saying Jen and then saying hi. Let's see. John Leonard, aka he says I submitted a few nerdy McD related songs on the FuMP some years back, likely under the title of Big and Tasty or Loopy Bob. And then a friend of ours from the middle of the country, Danny Chamberlain, who is married to the awesome Kim Pickles Chamberlain. So yeah, that's all the people, the final batch of people who voted on the Lukeski Top 20 poll of 2023. So thank you so much for everyone taking your time out to do this stupid thing, and that I know it seems like self-indulgent, look at me how great I am, but it does, like I said, this data comes in handy to me, so I appreciate you playing along and doing the thing. So yeah, everyone go to thegreatlukeski.com and click on the thing on the top bar that says Lukeski Top 50 to read down the whole thing. It lists, like, each song has a link to its song on my Bandcamp page, a link to the album that it's from. It denotes whether or not it's in Greatest Hits Volume 1 or 2, if it's on either of those. And I also have links to whatever music video or fan vid exists for the song, if one does. So, yeah. So go check it out. Thank you very much. And now, back to Devo Spice.
Back to me. Tour dates. On Sundays in Nashville, Tennessee, Steve Goody hosting at the Bluebird. On Sundays online, Two Sleeps. Mondays online, Steve Goody and Brad Tassel at virtualcomedyshow.com. On the 3rd online, Carla Ulbrich. On the 4th online, the Consortium of Genius. The 10th through the 11th in Medford, Oregon, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. On the 11th in Houston, Texas, the Consortium of Genius. The 12th in Portland, Oregon, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. And the 13th in Medford, Oregon, Phil Johnson and Roadside Attraction. Birthdays coming up Saturday the 4th is Steve Goody. Happy birthday, Steve.
Woo!
And second song of the week is another track from the upcoming Tom Lehrer tribute album. Here is the Consortium of Genius with The Elements. That's not it, The Elements. Hang on. Why is that not The Elements? Because I didn't put it in the folder. Sorry, 1 second. And then I'm going to do this, and then that, and then that. Okay, here we go.
Computer.
Yes, Dr. Pinkerton?
Stand by to catalog every element in the entire secret lab.
Are you sure? At normal procedural speed, this will take approximately 17.3 hours.
Just shut up and do it.
Affirmative.
There's antimony, arsenic, aluminum, selenium, and hydrogen, and oxygen, and nitrogen, and radium, and nickel, neodymium, neptunium, germanium, and iron, americium, ruthenium, uranium, europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium, and lanthanum, and osmium, and astatine, and radium, and gold, and protactinium, and indium, and gallium, and iodine, and thorium, and thulium, and thallium. Are Are you idiots taking all this down? There's yttrium, ytterbium, actinium, rubidium, boron, gadolinium, niobium, iridium, strontium, and silicon, and silver, and samarium, and bismuth, bromide, lithium, beryllium, and barium. Albert, what are you doing? This is a serious lecture!
I thought you told me to rock that bigoted.
Polonium and helium and hafnium and erbium, phosphorus and francium and fluorine and terbium and manganese and mercury, molybdenum, magnesium, dysprosium and scandium and cerium and cesium and lead, praseodymium and platinum, plutonium, palladium, promethium, potassium, polonium and tantalum, technetium, titanium, tellurium and cadmium and calcium and chromium and carium. Mark my words, if a single element is missing from this lab, I shall invent new forms of pain to make you fools suffer. Now then, where was I? Oh, yes. There's sulfur, californium, and fermium, berkelium, and also mendelevium, einsteinium, nobelium, argon, krypton, neon, radon, xenon, zinc, and rhodium, and chlorine, carbon, cobalt, copper, tungsten, tin, and sodium. Just 17 left! There's copernicium, nihenium, hassium, borium, lawrencium, seaborgium, tennessine, livermorium, rutherfordium, endobnium, dubstadium, ferrovium, organium, organis, and maharium, moscovium. Have you got all that? And those are all the elements piled up upon this table.
You should need a Pinkertonium because it's so unstable.
What? Never! And Pinkertonium!
I'm here with the Consortium of Genius. Welcome back, guys.
Hey, everybody.
So tell us about the elements, the song, not the actual elements. Unless you want to talk about the elements.
All night talking about the elements. They are what make up you and him and possibly me too, especially Pinkertonium. I've
Yes.
got a lot of that.
Good. I'm hoping for a little in my Christmas stocking if I've been a worthy enough servant.
If you don't cross me.
I will not cross you, I assure you.
Excellent. You may live.
He's going to cross you, Dr. Pinker.
Silence. Silence.
Sorry.
So yeah, the elements. Tell us about that.
Well, I believe that Tom Lehrer discovered the first, 108 elements?
Something like that.
But of course, we had to add to that number. And of course, you want to be in that number when the elements come marching in. Ahem.
Yes, we do. That makes perfect sense.
That. I'm not sure, though.
Silence.
No, I think he's right. I think he's absolutely right. 100%.
I'm always right, 100%. I'm Dr. Pinkerton. Next question.
I love the upbeat rocky punk type style sound you have here. It's a great update for the song.
Of course it's great. It is the Consortium of Genius with the help of Bad Beth and her slave Josh Paxton, yes. I believe. Yes. And beyond.
Yes, we did rock it.
We always rock it.
She played the bouzouki on this, right?
Yes, she did.
That's fantastic. I never heard of a bouzouki until I met Beth, and I love it.
Yeah, she'll never let you stop hearing about it. She is very, very, very proud of it.
She's the only person I've ever known who plays one, so she should be proud.
And she played her electric bouzouki on this one.
Yes.
Distortion pedal.
With the dragon.
Electric bouzouki.
Yes.
So who else was on this particular track?
No,
I played bass and rhythm guitar.
And then Filbert played a solo, but I had to stop him. And of course, Drumbot played the drums, as usual.
And Pinkerton sang it.
Yes. Very well, I might add.
Yes, I did. Extremely well. Very perceptive of you.
Filbert's making faces at you behind your back.
What?
I would never do.
You'd better.
Come on, man.
Filbert. All right. Go ahead and ask. You want to know about the Wonderflonium, don't you?
I do want to know about the Wonderflonium. Yes.
The Wonderflonium is not in my lab anymore. We sold it all to Bad Horse in 2008.
Yes. We have no need of it here.
And the Unobtainium. We have no need of that either. That is
Good
for
thing.
faster than light travel.
Because that's difficult to obtain.
Silence.
I'm
Of course, it's
sorry.
difficult to obtain, but I obtained it nonetheless. And I immediately sold it to James Cameron, who's got infinite scores of money,
Has
apparently.
infinite obtainiums of the obtainium.
So is this how you're funding all your research these days?
That's how we funded it back then.
Partially, yes.
Oh,
partially.
okay.
Since then,
Okay.
we've learned how to print money.
Oh, that's useful.
Yes.
Can you
Yes,
teach me?
Not only the U.S. Government can print money, we can as well.
Of course, we have to solidify our roles as master criminals somehow. We are supervillains after all.
Of course.
But of course, Dr. Pickett is on every bill, so people have trouble,
We just have to pass them quickly
yes,
with a hypnosis field in effect.
yes.
And some of our funding is done by General Garloff, the old Soviet Union general with that. He has this huge closet full of plutonium.
What are you talking about? Have you been doing deals behind my back, Filbert?
No.
He's not even a very budding supervillain. He's a terrible disgrace to the entire lab.
Entire scientific community.
If we were in space, I would eject you out the nearest airlock, Filbert.
Yes, you would eject me.
All right, next question.
Speaking of being in space, we are broadcasting 10 years in the future,
Yes.
our space station, and that seems
Which is
to-
temporarily, very temporarily, on Earth.
Yes, it was crashed 10 years in the
Yes,
future.
Next year, we intend to look another 10 years into the future to the point where we have taken over the entire world and everything has been transformed into a glorious prison for those who dare to cross Dr. Milo T. Pickett III.
Even Honduras?
Silence. Next question.
So, you were talking about Pinkertonium.
Yes.
Can you describe some of its properties and what it's used for?
Well, 115 protons, and the protons also come in a small packet that you can sprinkle onto your breakfast cereal. Filbert, what are you doing?
I'm reenacting breakfast cereal sprinkling.
All right. The less you know about Pinkertonium, the less possible it will be for you to synthesize it and try to one-up me. Ha! Do not think that I can be so easily led into giving away all my secrets that made me the greatest supervillain on Earth.
No one thinks that, Dr. Pinkerton.
Silence!
Fair enough. Yeah, I wouldn't dream of trying to synthesize my own Pinkertonium.
And I wouldn't dream of being fair enough.
Dr. Pinkerton, what? We should mention to him about escapefromthesecretlab.com.
That's right.
We will be broadcasting in the next few weeks.
Of course, we have Escape from the Secret Lab coming up live this Sunday, and of course, every second week after that until the end of the year. But we're also appearing in Houston on November 11th at the Arcade Expo.
The Houston Arcade Expo.
The Houston Arcade Expo.
Lots of pinball machines. It's lots of fun.
It's fantastic. You should be there.
But also, you should probably tell them who will be appearing on Escape from the Secret Lab over the next few weeks.
Yes. Well, let me see. Now, I think you booked the next one, did you not, Dr.
Oh,
Z?
yes. I looked through the interwebs and I was looking for the erotic pictures and they came up.
The band is called Erotic Pictures.
Yes, it's Erotic Pictures. Is
All
the
right.
name of the
It
band.
better not be some sort of sleazy bunch of
Doesn't sound.
No.
urban street strippers and
No sleaze at all, as far as I know.
All right. Then after that, a band called Neutral Snap on November the 19th, after we come back.
But
into
the erotic pictures is on November 5th. We didn't mention that.
Erotic Pictures this Sunday, November 19th, Neutral Snap, November 11th, COG at the Arcade Expo. And I don't think we are streaming that, so you're going to have to be there in person.
Yes, Houston's a hop, skip, and a jump from everywhere, so you should be there.
True. December 3rd, Ending. Yes, it'll be the end of you, end of them, of course. And then December 17th, Dash Rip Rock. Dash Rip Rock.
Yes.
Heard of them.
Yes, famous for having sung the catchy little novelty tune, Let's Go Smoke Some Pot, as it were, which I believe is a term for marijuana.
Is it?
I think it is.
Okay.
So this is all coming up at the end of this year, like coming up next couple of weeks. It's not 10 years in the future?
Well, we are broadcasting each of these episodes at that point, but they are being beamed in from 10 years in the future. You see, we know
Gotcha,
exactly what we're going to do through my great invention, the Future Visor.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're talking about the right dates here so people can tune in.
You want to view it this year?
Yes, you'll be viewing it in real time via the Future Visor. And of course, you'll be begging me to tell you what happens to you in 10 years. And I'm not going to let on unless you want to come down here and visit the secret lab yourself.
You like cash, buddy?
Yes.
I do need to get down to visit the secret lab one of these days.
Indeed.
All right, so you plugged the Escape from Vault Disney. No, that's another show. Escape from the Secret Lab.
I always want to escape from Walt Disney.
Yeah,
yes.
You plugged your live show.
There's no escape from us. If you ever do visit the secret lab, we shall make sure that you don't leave.
I have a brain hat.
Silence, Filbert. You have no brain. It doesn't matter if you have a hat on it. All right. Any further questions?
I have no further questions. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course not. When I educate thoroughly.
And so now you can roll the song unless you've already rolled it.
We usually roll it before the interview.
Okay, well then we will have already heard it.
I see. Well, you should have known that via the Future Visor.
Oh, yes, I should have, but I didn't put it on.
Idiots.
It doesn't fit over my
I'm surrounded by idiots. All right. This is it. I've got to get back to my important research, trying to find element 116, which I shall call Mylonium. Yes. Yeah, of course. I'm not very good. I'm very evil.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm evil,
Very evil.
This interview is at an end. Goodbye.
Well, best of luck with the Mylonium.
Luck does not enter into it. See you in the future.
Bye-bye.
Making the internet absolutely ridiculous. Dementia Radio.
www.dementiaradio.org. Port 8027.
Please hang up and try again.
This is the part where there's feedback. Feedback. You know that segment of the show we do about now?
Feedback.
Feedback.
Feedback, and there's no feedback this week. So, let's do teasing.
Teasing. He's a teasing kind of guy. And I have a job.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's song is by Lauren Mayer.
Woo!
And Tuesday's song is by Tony Goldmark.
What?
I need a playlist topic. Any suggestions? How about science?
Science would be good.
I don't know if I've done science yet. I will do science. Science! All right. The Consortium of Genius, or consortiumofgenius.com. Devo Spice is at devospice.com. Go ahead, Luke.
I was going to show you, in case I didn't show you this ever. So my phone, as you see, has a light purple case. And when you like, I'm trying to get it to do the thing where it shows the lock screen. Go away, things. So the lock screen on it is Entrapta with the caption "Imperfection is beautiful," and then when you open it, go to to hold it sideways, I've made it look like it's Entrapta holding her tracker pad, and she's talking into the tracker pad.
Nice. That's awesome.
and the ringtone on it is "She Blinded Me with Science." So it's my thoroughly Entrapta themed phone, and my iPad is the same way, except of course it doesn't ring because it's an iPad.
Alrighty. That's a show. Let's get out of here. Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. I'm Devo Spice.
I'm Luke Ski, and 10 years from now, there'll be the COG. And
thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. You can listen live every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific at DementiaRadio.org, and join us in the chat. Or subscribe to the podcast feed. Look us up on iTunes and be sure to leave us a review. Feedback for the show can be sent to info@thefump.com. The Funny Music Podcast is a production of Fidem Interactive, LLC, released under a Creative Commons share-alike license. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, shout it to random people on the street, and be sure to visit thefump.com for the latest funny songs. Tune in next week where you'll hear Luke Ski say,
Mylonium has a first name, it's OSCAR. Mylonium has a second name, it's FARGANARGAL.